We're back with the second most talked about thing in MMA this week, UFC Fight Night Bonfim versus Brown. All right. Obviously second to the scandals that are going around the sport right now. Isaac Dolgarian. Oh my goodness, pal. Wow, you've just opened up a can of worms in the MMA community. I don't know what to say about that. It's, ooh, man. Should I make a video of like 10 fights that I believed were rigged or something went on with them? Because, I mean, remember that one fight Shailon Nordembeka had, where it wasn't Shailon Nordembeka taking a dive, but where he won really easily? I don't know. Remember when there was another fight? Carlos Vera just randomly went down like 30 seconds into the fight with the injury. I don't know, man. There is a long list of fights. Hell, there's some in the PFL too. I remember a fight that Martin Hamlin won back in the day because his opponent went down like 20 seconds due to a injury. I think it was Cesar Ferreira. I don't know. There's a lot of fights that have happened in the past that you can kind of now look at and say, was something wrong with that? And now Isaac Dolgarian just opened up a bunch of stuff. I mean, the FBI is looking at the UFC now. Oh, man. Anyways, time to get excited for another Apex card. Maybe, here's the thing. Maybe this will encourage the UFC to get out of the Apex. They think, maybe fight rigging is going down here. Because, guys, if I'm a fan of watching the UFC, if I'm a fan who's doesn't watch the UFC and I'm a casual, and I'm just looking at fights from this little warehouse where nobody's at, I'm like, this is the Ultimate Fighting Championship. This is the #1 fighting promotion in the world, MMA fighting promotion in the world. And and there's nobody in the crowd. Like, I'm thinking there's already either like illegal gambling going on or there's like money laundering going on if I don't know what the UFC is. Anyways, I don't know. I have thoughts. We'll get into now the best bets. Before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more UFC content here on the channel. On Sunday, big card. UFC main event, obviously UFC number card 322, Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight championship. Not going to want to miss that video. Main channel Greedo plays daily college basketball best bets, daily NBA best bets, weekly college football predictions, and weekly NFL predictions as well. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets, kicking things off with a prelim fight. And yeah, this is one hell of a card, man. Just like the last best bets video, I had to do some digging because there's not like a bunch of opportunity on this card with fights I really like, because I mean it's an Apex card and we're having fights fall in and out. Like how we just had Jackson McVeigh get lined up to fight Zach Reese. McVeigh's had multiple opponents now this week. Dante Johnson was supposed to fight on 7 days notice to fight Jackson McVeigh after McVeigh was supposed to fight Robert Valentin. Johnson comes in. Johnson's not cleared by the athletic commission to fight, so now Jackson McVeigh's fighting Zach Reese. I think Reese beats him, by the way, but our first fight that we're going to do a best bet for, Josh Hokit versus Max Himenez in the heavyweight division. We're going to go the under 1.5 rounds. That's going to be marked at -140. I think the under quite easily hits here. We've gone over Josh Hokit in the past, and despite what you think about the whole persona and whatnot, I'm cool with it. I am. I'm cool with not the persona. The persona is what it is. I'm cool with Josh Hokit trying to promote his fights. Okay, let me make myself clear here. I can't speak on Josh Hokit, what he says, because I'm not too tapped into what Josh Hokit says, okay? I've only seen what he said post-fight. Regardless of that, though, Josh Hokit's fighting Max Himenez here in his first UFC fight. The main thing I do agree with Josh Hokit with is, A, you're trying to sell a fight, which right off the bat, unless you're saying some, insane stuff, as long as you're selling a fight, cool. Again, that's what I've always appreciated about Colby Covington. You make people care about your fight. Like, Juliana Pena is a dumbed-down version of this, but Juliana Pena talking trash and getting her name in the news, I don't really care, because now you actually put some intrigue around a fight that I wouldn't care about prior to. So now I want to watch Josh Hokit fight, and if you don't like Josh Hokit or you like Josh Hokit, regardless, you're going to watch the guy fight. So it gives us a reason to watch the prelims. I would watch regardless, unfortunately. Anyways, he's fighting Max Himenez here, and Hokit's big statement is, I'm going to wrestle guys at the heavyweight division. Nobody knows how to wrestle here, and I'm an athlete, so I can actually beat fighters up at 265. And it's the absolute truth. There are no actual athletes at 265, for the most part. And if there are athletes, they're in the top 5. Cyril Gane and Volkov, Aspinall, Almeida, they're all up there. Hokit, former NFL player, played with the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. He takes on Max Himenez, who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter or grappler who is now getting into MMA. He's had 7 pro fights. We've seen Himenez get finishes now by TKO recently. We've seen a lot of quick finishes from him. We have not seen Himenez go out of the first round just yet in his pro MMA career. Josh Hokit, same thing. He's never seen the scorecards. Pretty much every single fight he has ends under 2.5 rounds as well, or 1.5 rounds as well. It's a perfect line for us here. It's a heavyweight fight with, Himenez, who's trusting his hands a little bit more, but more just of a grappler, and Josh Hokit, who can kind of strike, but looking to put you on his back and looking to aggressively finish a fight as well. And that's his whole thing. Again, the incredible Josh Hokit is trying to take you down and trying to just beat your face in on the mat. That's what he did in his Contender Series fight, fighting Guilherme Uriel. Went out there and dominated the fight. Was a minus 430 favorite, very similar odds to what he is here. He's a minus 400 favorite against Himenez. He goes out there against Uriel, who's an LFA fighter, and just completely mops the floor with him, takes him down, and completely just hammers him on the ground. Actually, it's elbows that finish the fight. Himenez, again, he's looked all right so far in professional MMA, but who has he beaten? Absolutely nobody. Himenez is still yet to beat a fighter in professional mixed martial arts with a winning record. Why would I believe he's going to beat Josh Hokit here? And why would I believe, again, Himenez can even get out of a round with Josh Hokit? It's not even a thing where I think his grappling is going to combat and it's going to cancel out what Hokit's able to do on the ground. What happens when Josh Hokit has him in side control or in a crucifix? And what happens, again, you can be great at jiu-jitsu. What happens when you get punched in the face? What happens when Hokit's in half guard and he's completely, again, beating your face in? He's smashing your skull. And by the rare occasion where Himenez throws something up off his back and, finds a triangle choke or gets a rear naked, guillotine, or sweeps Hokit, takes his back, that should probably happen in the first 7.5 minutes. Expect a quick finish either way. Himenez is yet to see the scorecards. He is yet to make it past the first round. Josh Hokit's never been the distance either. It's a heavyweight fight on the prelims. I expect to finish. And if Hokit can back up his talk, which I actually believe he can, because I'm looking at the heavyweight division, it's not very good. I think Hokit's going to go very far. And if Hokit goes where I think he's going to go, this fight's going to be over very quickly. And the odds indicate that as well. Again, this is what more athletes should try to do. I know it's not the most high-paying job, unless you can get into the top 5. It's a former NFL player who's a tight end in the NFL, who's now, again, wrestled in college at Fresno State and is now trying out mixed martial arts. And he's done it. Obviously, fought in Bellator, fought in PFL. He's had 6 fights, won in the Contender Series. Now he's going to start going through UFC fighters as well because, again, some of these guys just don't have what it takes to be an actual athlete like Josh Hokit is. Hokit and Himenez under 1.5 rounds. This fight should end fairly early. To our second best bet of the video, we go to another prelim fight. Ricky Simone takes on Raoni Barcelos. I'm going to go Ricky Simone by decision. We had to dig on this card. Again, I'll be honest with you guys. This was the 5th best bet. I'll say it now. I did pick Muslim Salikov to beat Uros Medic at the beginning of the week. I'm standing by that pick. I'm not that confident to tell you Uros Medic is going to beat... that Muslim Salikov is going to beat Uros Medic to put it on a best bet video. I'd like to. I don't have that confidence in it. And Medic, minus 180 favorite, Salikov plus 140. If you like Salikov that much, take him. Instead, I decided to go with Ricky Simone decision over Raoni Barcelos. If Simone wins, it's likely going to be by decision. I know he knocked out Javid Basharat. I don't think he's going to be knocking out Raoni Barcelos, who is looking better. I know Barcelos wrestled in his last fight against one Cody Garbrandt. I don't entirely expect that here. I mean, if you watch Simone's last fight against Cameron Smotherman, it's a Ricky Simone-esque fight. It's doing enough in the striking game to get close enough to wrestle and putting the guy down on his back. Simone easily wins the first and second rounds. Third round's close. Two judges give it to Simone. The other judge gives it to Smotherman. It doesn't matter because Simone already banked the first 2. It's a typical Ricky Simone victory. It's wrestling. He'll throw some overhands, but a lot of wrestling. And I don't expect him to get a finish here. I know he finished Javid Basharat. He finished Jack Shore by sub. I think Barcelos is good enough defensively on the ground. He's only been subbed once in his career. Hell, Barcelos has been finished twice in his entire career, and once is to Umar Nurmagomedov, and the one by submissions back in RFA, back when RFA was a thing, in 2014. Okay? It's not a guy who gets, finished often, and the one time he did in the UFC ever, it's against Umar Nurmagomedov, who is going to be a perennial top contender in the bantamweight division. So I'm not concerned Barcelos getting stopped. It's more me, or it's more of a thing where I'm thinking, okay, can Simone win? I believe so. I know Barcelos showed some really good wrestling in the Garbrandt fight. They only gave him credit with one takedown, but Barcelos affects that fight and really puts pressure on Garbrandt and changes really the game plan and shifts the momentum in that fight with Cody No Love. As soon as Garbrandt sees any bit of success striking-wise in that fight, Barcelos mixes it up, again, grabs a hold of him, clinches up with him, and tries to take Garbrandt down. Again, only officially gets credited with one takedown in the first round, but Barcelos, again, was pretty dominant in terms of his control against Cody No Love. He's not going to be able to do that against Simone. Simone is a good wrestler. We've seen it before in the past, and I have full confidence in Simone being able to out-wrestle Houndy Barcelos. The only really fear I have with Simone is, will Barcelos find a way to win on the feet? I don't think so. Again, Barcelos is getting up there in age, man. He's 38 years of age. Eventually, that being that age at 135 pounds and continuing to cut weight to get down to this weight class is going to affect you. Barcelos has put together a pretty nice win streak. Christian Quiñones, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt, right? I mean, look at Peyton Talbot's going to be fighting at UFC 323, in Las Vegas on that big pay-per-view card to end the year. Main card against Triple C future Hall of Famer Henry Cejudo. Houndy Barcelos beat Peyton Talbot earlier in the year. He's won a fight since. And yeah, Talbot won a fight over Felipe Lima, but both are coming off wins. Houndy Barcelos is on a 3-fight winning streak. No Cejudo fight, you get Ricky Simone, while Talbot gets to fight Cejudo on a pay-per-view card to close the year. And obviously, right, Barcelos isn't going to make the money that the UFC thinks Talbot's going to make them, but it's kind of ridiculous. Now, at the same time, right, Houndy's on a 3-fight winning streak, so he should be taken seriously here. I just don't know how he beats Simone, though. Like, stylistically wise, you could understand why Barcelos beats Talbot. Same reason why I think Cejudo should beat Talbot if that fight's not, Isaac Dolgarian. Right? I mean, you would think. Barcelos wrestles and goes out there and impressively wrestles Talbot. Talbot doesn't have an answer to that. He can't, and he does that again against Cody. How's he going to out-wrestle Ricky Simone? I don't know. He can't. He out-wrestled Christian Quiñones until he got the sub. He out-wrestles Talbot, out-wrestles Garbrandt. He's not out-wrestling Ricky Simone. It's been such a big part of the Barcelos game plan. Hell, even look at his loss to Kyler Phillips. He wrestles Kyler Phillips. He wrestled Trevin Jones to a victory back in 2022. It's become a staple of Houndy Barcelos fights ever since he really lost that striking fight in a back-and-forth one, don't get me wrong, in Anaheim in 2022 against Victor Henry. It's been a lot of wrestling out of Barcelos. I don't love that here against Ricky Simone, who I know can wrestle and is a good wrestler at that. I'm going Ricky Simone here. It's a pretty obvious pick for me. I think Simone's going to take down Barcelos quite often in this fight, and I just don't think Barcelos is going to have an answer. It's to the point where I think, Simone's going to break Barcelos' will to the point where, okay, there's nothing he's got anymore. Again, he's still better on his feet than he is on the ground, but there's going to be no answers, I believe, for Barcelos against Ricky Simone, and I think Simone shuts him down quite easily. Don't forget, Barcelos is 38. I'm going to go Ricky Simone by decision. We get great plus money with this, too, plus 135 for Simone to get it done. Next up, we go to an over-under here. We very rarely take overs when we go total round props. I'm doing it here. Ismael Bonfim and Chris Padilla. Again, we have to dig a little bit, I'm not going to lie to you, on this Best Bets video because I think it's one of the least friendly betting cards you can find just because there are so many big favorites, and we'll get to another big favorite in a couple minutes here. And, there's multiple women's fights, which, it's cool, but I hate betting women's fights because there's so much unpredictability around them, especially low level. High level women's fights, I can bet with confidence. I can't bet, Mayra Bueno Silva and Jacqueline Cavalcanti with any confidence, unfortunately. Now, here's the thing. Ismael Bonfim, Chris Padilla. Again, we usually love taking under spots here. I'm going to go over. I know Chris Padilla has gone out there and finished almost every single fight he's had so far in the UFC. James Lontop and Rong Zhu. The Jai Herbert fight goes to a split decision. And I think Ismael Bonfim is not going to take many chances. Padilla, I think, is going to be winning to the point where that affects Bonfim's ability to take chances. And if you're Chris Padilla, yeah, you can chase a knockout. But if what you're doing early in the fight, which I expect to work for Padilla, is lead with the jab and really just continue to walk forward, there's no reason to take a big chance against Bonfim here. Ismael Bonfim, I believe, is heavily overrated. He's a 2-2 UFC fighter. We went over this at the beginning of the week. I picked Padilla to win by decision. The same pick remains. I think he's going to win this fight. Bonfim is 2-2, came into the UFC, knocked out Terrence McKinney, which at the time was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, right? The Bonfim bros, him and Gabriel Bonfim, obviously was in the main event, but he knocks out the flying knee Terrence McKinney, makes McKinney faceplant in Brazil. It was incredible. He went on to lose to Benoit Saint-Denis. Again, at the time, he was a big favorite. Now we know Benoit's pretty good. Beats Vince Pichel after, well, he's 40, and then lost to Nazim Sadikov, where Sadikov wins at the end of the first round due to a doctor stoppage. I just think I think Bonfim's overhyped, and I look at Chris Padilla, who's extremely underrated. The casual fan does not know Chris Padilla. This is a guy who, spent a lot of time on the regional scene, really worked his ass off to get in this position, and he's earned it, man. I mean, what Padilla's done so far in the UFC is nothing short of incredible. The big finish, the submission win over James Lontop, knocking out Rong Zhu in his second fight in September of 2024, and then finding a way against Jai Herbert. Is it a great fight? No, but he goes out there and just does enough. Padilla doesn't really he doesn't entirely overwhelm Jai Herbert, but his shots in close and his overall volume early in the fight steals the first 2 rounds. Herbert wins the third. You got to give Padilla the fight, even though not the most damage is being done like you normally see in Padilla fights. This is as simple as I think Padilla outstrikes Ismael Bonfim. And at the same time, too, again, we're not even picking Padilla to win. As long as this goes to decision, we're fine. Does Ismael Bonfim really finish Padilla? I don't think so. I mean, if anything, it's going to be with the grappling, I think. I don't know. I mean, we haven't really seen the grappling game at a Bonfim that much. It's just, I don't think he can finish Padilla on the feet. And sure, again, everyone's got a puncher's chance to win a fight in the UFC, obviously. I saw Ismael Bonfim go a full 15 minutes and outstrike Vince Pichel and, pretty clearly dominated him on the feet, and he couldn't get him out of there. Essentially, again, there were some grappling exchanges in that fight at UFC 301, but for the most part, that's a straight stand-up fight. Ismael Bonfim overwhelmed Vince Pichel. Pichel had no answers, and he still could not finish Vince Pichel in 15 minutes. Who's to say he's going to finish Chris Padilla? The bigger chance to win this fight and finish this fight, in my opinion, is with Padilla. I just don't think it's happening. I think it's an Apex fight. I know smaller octagon brings guys together. Sure, and I understand that argument always. At the same time, too, getting fights in the Apex also has a negative side. There's no crowd, there's no excitement, and fighters kind of feel like, oh, it's a weird environment. We're kind of in a sparring type environment. And especially for these two guys, too, who have fought outside of the Apex. Well, especially Padilla, last fight outside the Apex. Bonfim's last fight, it was in the Apex. It was, Kenia Rodriguez. But still, Padilla goes from fighting in France, I believe it was, right? England, to the Apex. I mean, again, I think Apex fights, some people like them, I don't. I just think they're so boring most of the time. You get no crowd reaction behind it. And a lot of fighters just result into, point fighting because it feels like a sparring match. I'm going Padilla to win, but it doesn't matter. Again, I don't think Bonfim can finish Padilla. Padilla, I know, can finish Bonfim. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think, there is somewhat of a worry with, I believe, Bonfim switching levels in wrestling. We'll see. I just think Padilla is going to win this one. But again, over 2.5 rounds. We're basically taking to go to the scorecards. Late round finish doesn't really affect us either. But again, over 2.5 rounds at minus 135. Sign me up for this Padilla and Bonfim fight. On to our fourth best bet of the video. Let's go to Joseph Morales to defeat Matt Schnell inside the distance. I believe this is the first time we've ever gone to a line like this. In terms of, in this style, we usually just do, a guy to win by knockout or him to win by submission or decision, right? Which Aiton Almeida doing inside the distance here for Joseph Morales. I think he can do it. Matt Schnell's not very good. Morales is coming off of obviously winning the Ultimate Fighter. I, at the beginning of the week, said second round submission for him over Matt Schnell. I believe that to be the case. I think he can still do that, but there's multiple opportunities for him to win, right? I know the decision is in play, and I think, most people on Tapology are picking Morales actually win by sub, and more people are picking him to win by sub than they are by decision. There's obviously a fear of that because it's 125, and these guys don't hit with the most power. Here's the thing, though, about power at 125 pounds. You can throw all of that out the window and saying, oh, well, these guys don't hit the hardest because they don't weigh that much. Matt Schnell's fighting. Matt Schnell doesn't have a chin. Guys, I don't know why Matt Schnell hasn't retired. I said this earlier in the week, and I still remain on this point. You got a win. You beat Jimmy Flick right off into the sunset. What do you have left to do? You're not winning a title. You finished 500 in the UFC, 7-7. You got to win after already retiring. You're a company man. Oh, Matt Schnell's been a big supporter of the UFC. I'm not even taking a stance on this, but I know Matt Schnell has been very vocal to not unionizing UFC fighters because he's got all this trust in the UFC. Again, I'm not giving an opinion on that, but what I'm saying about that is, Schnell loves the promotion. I guess they like him too because they put him in a co-main event. He's already unretired. You got a win. Why are you coming back? Sure, he beat Jimmy Flick. He's not that good of a fighter. But have we seen what Matt Schnell did before the Flick fight? Guys, Schnell's chin's always been gone, but especially it has been gone since really lost to Rodrigo Bonturin at UFC 262 in Houston. He comes back, fights Brandon Royval, gets dropped, and Royval submits him pretty early in that fight. Actually, no, Schnell dropped him, and then Royval subbed Schnell with the guillotine choke. Schnell then beats Sumadarji on Long Island. One of the greatest comebacks you're going to ever watch. He wins by triangle choke. Somehow, some way, looked like he was, out for dead multiple times. Comes back and wins. Amazing comeback. He then proceeded to fight 4 months later and got knocked out, which I just didn't understand, to Mateus Nicolau, who's never been a power puncher. Comes back another 4 months later, gets knocked out by Steve Erceg. Didn't understand that one either. And then got subbed by Cody Durden via a guillotine/ninja choke, ninja choke, in September. Retires, and then, I'm back to fight Jimmy Flick and wins. Again, though, look at that run. Submitted in the first round by Royval. TKO'd in the second round by Nicolau. Knocked out. Knocked out in the second round by Erceg. Submitted in the second round by Durden. What do we have left to offer? Joseph Morales is a really good ground game. We saw that in the Ilibi Idris fight, winning the Ultimate Fighter. Really overwhelmed Idris on the ground. This guy's fought in the UFC in the past, but really not since 2018, so it's a new run for him. Normally I wouldn't say I'll watch out for the striking game out of Joseph Morales. I will here. Matt Schnell's chin is gone. It's been gone. I think the grappling is the biggest part in that too. Again, it's just, this is going to sound corny. There's no safe space for Matt Schnell inside the octagon though, right? There's nowhere where he can just relax. Morales is a guy who normally I would not say does the most damage on the feet, will be doing damage on the feet in this fight. And now it just affects everything for Schnell. Because, okay, I'm losing on the feet, but at the same time, this is a wrestler, a really good wrestler at that, who can take me down, put me on my back. And can probably submit me too. I'm easily going Joseph Morales here. Again, this is a good grappler who I think will see more success than he ever has, striking-wise in this fight as well. I cannot trust in a 35-year-old Matt Schnell with no chin who should be taking time now to go home to his family, not fighting mixed martial arts fights where brain damage can occur. Okay, I'm going Joseph Morales inside the distance against Matt Schnell, -125 here for the Team Alpha Male fighter from Sacramento, California. On to our final best bet of the video. We are going to the main event. Last week we had Steve Garcia to win. We are now going Randy Rude Boy Brown to beat Gabriel Bonfim. Brown is a favorite on Tapology. I know that doesn't tell the entire story, but 63% of voters are going with Randy Rude Boy Brown. 37% of voters are going with Gabriel Bonfim. And now I understand people are really down on Bonfim because of the Wonder Boy fight, and is that warranted? Well, I think it's warranted to feel like Wonder Boy should have beaten Bonfim because he did. Should we be this down on Bonfim, though? I don't know. I'll tell you this. I've really never been that impressed with Gabriel Bonfim. I've really never been that impressed with either of the Bonfim brothers. I'll tell you this. I was more impressed with Ismael Bonfim early, especially after the McKinney win, too. I know Gabriel went out there and won by Von Flue on the contender, and then beat Munir Lazez. Lazez really never turned out. Then beat Trevin Giles. The fight that always sticks out, though, to me is Gabriel Bonfim, Nicholas Dalby. He lost to Nicholas Dalby in Brazil. It was a big fight for him. It's just one of those fights where, like, you remember where you were. Okay, actually, I can make that really case with any fight I've ever watched. Is that weird? I know, like, where I was every single fight that I've ever watched in my lifetime. Co-main event, Gabriel Bonfim's a -650 favorite. I remember being back in my dorm room watching that fight. It was a late night card. It was like a 1 o'clock in the morning, if maybe like midnight over in Indiana. Well, I was watching that fight, and I was just kind of waiting for Derek Lewis Jites on Almeida, and I just assumed Bonfim was going to get it. No, he loses. He tires out, and Nicholas Dalby breaks him. And from that point forward, I was like, all right, I can never treat Gabriel Bonfim seriously ever again. He lost to a 38-year-old Nicholas Dalby, who, oh, by the way, Randy Brown just beat in his last fight. Randy Brown knocked him out in the second round in Kansas City, Missouri. I know Brown's got a loss recently to Brian Battle. I don't care. It's a close loss. Not a great fight. Don't care. So Bonfim, since the Dalby fight, beats Angelosa. Submit to Chaos Williams, not bad. And then should have lost to Wonder Boy. I don't know how you score that fight for Bonfim, okay? Just wrestling and doing no damage does not win you a fight, okay? Wonder Boy did more damage and Wonder Boy outstruck Gabriel Bonfim. That's Stephen Thompson's victory. And they robbed Wonder Boy of that win. I'm not taking any other answer, okay? They robbed Stephen Thompson. So now Bonfim gets a main event. He gets rewarded by this. Again, originally supposed to take on Randy Brown on an undercard for, no, it was a main card on Oliveira Gamrot. They say, you know what, you got embarrassed last time you fought in Brazil. Go fight in a Fight Night Apex main event against Randy Brown, who's been picking up victories. 4 of 5 wins for Randy Brown going into this fight. Win over Wellington Turman. Knockout win over Muslim Salikov. That continues to age well because Salikov, again's on this card, but he's been winning. Win over Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos in New Jersey. Lost to Brian Battle in a close, not that entertaining fight. And then obviously the victory in his last one over Nicholas Dalby by second round knockout. Brown's hitting hard. Brown is fighting with confidence. Bounced back after getting dropped in the first round against Dalby. Comes back in the second round. Knocks him out. Big win for Rude Boy Brown. Again, 4 of 5 wins for him. He's going to bring it to Gabriel Bonfim. And I think Bonfim is going to wilt under the pressure and the power and the strength he's going to feel from Randy Brown. If I'm Bonfim, and we know it's going to happen, Bonfim needs to wrestle here. It's his only chance of winning this fight. Oh, wait. Well, it is, but Randy Brown's got a 73% takedown defense rate in the UFC. The only guy in his last 8 fights to take him down, Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos. Brown worked back up to his feet, eventually won the fight by decision. I think Brown gets it. I'm not sold on Bonfim. Again, I think it's fair to be down on him because of these last couple fights, and it's just the Dalby fight, man. Because you watch the Dalby fight, and once Bonfim can't get that fight down, he gets a takedown in the first round, controls Dalby in the first, second round gets takedowns early, fight goes back up to the feet with about a minute left, and Dalby just starts breaking him, works the body, gets in the clinch, starts kneeing him, fight over, Bonfim quits. You wilted to the pressure of Nicholas Dalby in your own home country. What's going to happen when you fight Randy Brown? Who's got good defensive wrestling, way better striking than Nicholas Dalby. And oh, by the way, he just beat Nicholas Dalby. I know MMA math doesn't always work like that, but this is so easy for me. I'm going Randy Brown. It's a one-sided fight, I believe. Guys, and we just need this fight to get out of the first round. I don't think Brown gets subbed in the first. He has been subbed twice before, but that's Jack Della Maddalena and then Mike Graves in his second UFC fight back on Teixeira Evans in Tampa, Florida. We're throwing that out. We don't care about that. So really, he's only been subbed by Jack Della. He's not getting subbed by Gabriel Bonfim. If he can get out of the first round, he's easily winning this fight. Bonfim's going to break. Bonfim's not ready for 5 rounds. I'm telling you, he's not preparing for this fight thinking, okay, I'm going to win a 25-minute decision. It's not happening. After his last fight, too, where he did not look good as the fight went on, Randy Rude Boy Brown wins it. Eventually, he will break Gabriel Bonfim, and I'm going 3rd round TKO for Rude Boy Randy Brown, winning in this Apex main event. Folks, thank y'all for watching our UFC Fight Night Bonfim versus Brown best bets. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back on Sunday for our UFC 322 predictions from Madison Square Garden. Jack Della Maddalena, Islam Makhachev for the welterweight championship. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.